The sky exploded with a scream that could shatter glass. I froze, my fingers hovering over the drone controller, as a woman's voice tore through the serene hum of Ridgewood Park. "You're spying on us. Stop that thing now." Below, a figure in a lavender tracksuit stormed across the grass, trampling a patch of daisies like they'd personally offended her. Her phone was raised like a weapon, filming me, while her other hand jabbed the air with righteous fury. I glanced at the drone's live feed on my tablet. Her face, red and contorted, filled the screen, already streaming to my cloud backup, and unbeknownst to her, the homepage of my YouTube channel. This wasn't just a tantrum, it was about to become a spectacle. My name's Ethan Caldwell, a 32-year-old drone pilot with an FAA certification and a side hustle filming nature for small documentary gigs. That crisp October morning in 2025, I'd come to Ridgewood Park to capture footage of migrating egrets along the creek, a project for a local conservation group. The park was perfect wide, open fields, no power lines, minimal radio interference. I cleared everything with the county parks office, dotted every I in the paperwork, even posted a sign near my setup. FAA certified drone flight in progress. Area monitored. But none of that mattered to the woman, now charging toward me like a bull seeing red. Her name, I'd later learn, was Marjorie Hensley, the self-appointed guardian of suburban order. The day had started quietly. Sunlight filtered through the oaks, casting golden streaks across the dew-soaked grass. A jogger with a labradoodle waved as he passed. A kid with a kite giggled nearby. I'd set up my ground station on a picnic table, running pre-flight checks with the precision of a surgeon. My drone, a sleek quadcopter with a 4K camera, lifted off smoothly, climbing to 120 feet. The feed showed the creek sparkling below, two egrets taking flight in perfect sync, a shot that could have been framed for a gallery. I was lost in the moment, adjusting the gimbal for a sweeping arc, when Marjorie's voice hit like a sonic boom. I turned to face her. Mid-50s, with a bleach blonde bob that looked cemented in place, she radiated the kind of authority that thrives on HOA newsletters and neighborhood watch lists. "You're filming children!" she shrieked, close enough now that I could see the veins pulsing in her neck. "This is illegal. I'm calling the cops." A small crowd was forming, joggers slowing, parents glancing up from their strollers. I kept my voice steady, professional. "Ma'am, I'm FAA certified, and I have permission to fly here. I'm filming wildlife, not people. Want to see my documentation?" Her eyes narrowed, as if I'd offered her a forged passport. "I don't care about your papers," she spat, stepping over my equipment case and knocking over a spare battery pack. "You're a creep, and I'm shutting this down." She dialed 911 with theatrical flair, shouting into the phone about a suspicious man with a drone while pacing in front of my table. The drone hovered above, its camera catching every second of her meltdown. I flipped a switch on the controller, zooming in on her face now, a mask of rage, and displayed it on my fold-out monitor. "Actually," I said, loud enough for the crowd to hear, "you're the one on camera now, and it's live." Marjorie froze, her mouth gaping like a fish yanked from water. "You're going to jail," she hissed, but the venom was starting to waver. The crowd murmured, some stifling laughs. A teenager pulled out his phone, filming her filming me. 10 minutes later, two police cruisers rolled into the lot, lights flashing, but sirens off. Marjorie rushed toward them, arms flailing, like she was reporting a hostage crisis. "He's recording illegally," she cried. "He threatened me with that thing." Officer Daniels, a stocky man with a no-nonsense mustache, approached me first. "Sir, mind stepping over here?" I nodded, grabbing my FAA binder remote pilot certificate, flight logs, airspace maps, and a sign permit from the Parks Department. I handed it over, pointing to my sign. Daniels skimmed the pages, his expression unreadable, then turned to Marjorie. "Ma'am, he's fully authorized. FAA rules apply here, not your personal objections." Her jaw tightened. "But he's filming me. What about my rights?" Daniels didn't blink. "You're in a public park. You've got no expectation of privacy. And you're the one disrupting a legal operation." Marjorie stammered, searching for a comeback, But the officer wasn't done. Also, false 911 calls are a misdemeanor. You said he threatened you. Got proof. I couldn't resist. I tapped the controller, replaying a clip on the monitor. Marjorie towering over my gear, yelling about spying on kids while I stood calmly. The crowd erupted in chuckles. A kid shouted, "She's going to be a meme." Marjorie's face drained of color. She pointed a trembling finger at me. "This isn't over. I'll have your drone banned." I smiled as I lowered the drone to land. "Thanks for the content, Marjorie. This one's going viral." By sundown, the clip titled "Drone Lady Loses It at Park" had 30,000 views. My subscriber count spiked, and comments poured in, ranging from legend to Karen's never learn. I should have been thrilled, but a knot tightened in my gut. Marjorie didn't seem like the type to slink away quietly. She struck me as someone who'd double down, and I wasn't wrong. The next morning, my inbox pinged with a forwarded email from a friend in the nearby Crest VY EWHOA, where Marjorie reigned as community standard share. The subject line read, "Urgent, unauthorized drone threat." Attached was a 5-page PDF accusing me of endangering residents, violating privacy, and disturbing the peace. It was signed by Marjorie, her husband Carl, listed as legal ad VY-SOR, and the HOA president, a spineless guy named Roger who probably just wanted peace. The kicker? I didn't even live in Crest VY. Yumi house was 3 blocks outside their jurisdiction. I forwarded the letter to my VY-ation lawyer, Sarah Nguyen, a sharp-witted woman who could recite FAA regulations like poetry. Her response was a work of art. 8 paragraphs dismantling their claims with citations from federal preemption laws and Part 107 rules, ending with a warning about potential harassment claims if they persisted. I thought that'd be the end of it. It wasn't. By noon, Marjorie had posted on the Crest VY EWHOA's private Facebook group a grainy photo of me at the park, snapped from behind a shrub, captioned, "Beware, this man spies on our kids with drones. Police couldn't stop him. Protect your families." The comments were a circus. One mom wrote, "I'm locking my doors." Another claimed, "Drones like this can hack your Wi-Fi." But cracks appeared fast. A guy named Pete posted, "That's Ethan Caldwell. He's FAA certified. I saw his vest and badge in your own photo, Marjorie." Someone else linked the police body cam footage, released that morning, showing Marjorie's rant collapsing under scrutiny. My favorite was from an elderly resident. "Marjorie, maybe if you stopped yelling and started Googling, you'd know drones aren't flying spy robots." Marjorie's reply was unhinged. She vowed to petition the HOA to ban all drones over Crest VY EW airspace and hinted at legal action against me. She seemed to believe the HOA owned the sky above their cul-de-sacs, a delusion I'd come to call Marjorie logic. I laughed it off, but a few days later, something odd happened. During a routine flight for a new project, my drone's signal flickered, then cut out entirely. The auto-return kicked in, rerouting at home, but the log showed interference strong, deliberate, and localized. I ran diagnostics and pinpointed the source, a backyard on Crest VY EU Sedge. Marjorie's address. This wasn't a glitch. She was jamming my drone. Signal blockers are illegal, FCC level illegal, the kind of thing that gets feds knocking. I called Sarah, who didn't mince words. If she's jamming, she's screwed. Get EVY Denke. So I did. I rigged a secondary drone with diagnostic gear and flew it near Crest VYEW. Sure enough, the signal tanked right over her property. Zooming in, I spotted it. A clunky antenna array behind her rose bushes, pointed skyward like a budget sci-fi prop. I documented everything: radio logs, GPS data, thermal footage of the interference pattern, and sent it to Sarah. She filed a complaint with the FCC, and within 48 hours, 2 agents in unmarked sedans rolled into Crest VYEW. I watched from a coffee shop across the street, sipping an Americano like a low-budget spy. Marjorie answered her door in a bathrobe, her face shifting from smug to spooked as the agents flashed badges. They circled her yard, one snapping photos of the antenna, while the other scanned it with a VYC that looked straight out of Men in Black. Marjorie trailed them, gesturing wildly, but they weren't buying it. By evening, the antenna was gone, her Facebook page was private, and the HOA's online chatter went silent. I thought she'd finally learned her lesson. I was wrong. A week later, while flying over the creek for a wildlife survey, my drone's mic picked up barking lots of it. The camera panned to a fenced backyard nearby, Marjorie's. At first, I saw 4 kennels, neatly aligned. But under a tarp, hidden from street VYEW, were more dozens of cages, some stacked, others makeshift. Dogs paced inside, their barks sharp and desperate. Marjorie stepped out, hauling a hose, her expression grim. This wasn't a pet lover's haven. It was a business, and it looked wrong. I hesitated. Confronting her directly risked escalating things further, and I wasn't a cop. But the memory of her lies-false 911 calls, smear campaigns, signal jamming pushed me forward. This wasn't revenge. It was responsibility. I clipped the footage, grabbed screenshots, and sent an anonymous tip to County Animal Control, flagging potential zoning violations and overcrowding. I included timestamps and GPS data, keeping it clinical, airtight. Animal Control didn't waste time. That Saturday, a van pulled up to Marjorie's house. 2 officers knocked, and she greeted them with a fake smile, gesturing inside like she was hosting a book club. But when they headed for the backyard, the barking exploded louder, wilder. They spent an hour inspecting, emerging with citations and 3 small dogs that looked half-starved. Neighbors peeked from windows, whispering. The fallout didn't stop there. The inspection triggered a deeper probe, and zoning officials uncovered something bigger. Marjorie had been running an unlicensed boarding operation under a fake nonprofit called Paws of Crest VYEW. Donations went to her personal PayPal, not a charity. The kennel's VY-OLAT county codes, and the conditions were borderline neglectful. The HOA was Lee VYD. An emergency meeting, board members grilled Marjorie. She'd used her title to bully me, a non-resident, dragging Crest VYEW into a federal mess. Worse, she'd issued fake fines to neighbors, pocketing cash for community projects like a new pergola for her deck. A quiet board member, Ellen, dropped the bombshell. She'd recorded Marjorie bragging about rigging an HOA vote to push a drone ban that never passed. The room went silent as Ellen played the audio. Marjorie's voice, smug and careless, admitting she tweaked documents for efficiency. The board voted unanimously to oust her, not just from her role, but from any future HOA involvement. Marjorie stormed out, screaming about betrayal, but the applause that followed said it all. My YouTube channel exploded. The original clip of Marjorie's park meltdown hit 1.5 million VYUs, and the sequel, her crash in my drone workshop, the next month was climbing fast. I'd organized the event to teach kids and hobbyists about safe drone use, expecting maybe 20 attendees. Instead, 80 showed up, drawn by the VY RAL saga. Families flew mini drones through hoops. Retirees asked about FAA rules. Then Marjorie arrived, screeching about unauthorized air traffic. The crowd groaned. I pointed to the banner. FAA-approved drone workshop, sponsored by County Parks. She doubled down, yelling about child safety, but parents shut her down, flashing signed consent forms. Officer Daniels arrived, same cop, same patients, and warned her about false emergency calls. Defeated, she sped off, gravel flying. The HOA audit sealed her fate. It uncovered due lot 3,000 in misdirected fines, including the drone jammer listed as a security to VYC. Marjorie's house hit the market a week later, a for sale sign staked in her pristine lawn. Rumors swirled she was suing the HOA, pitching a news expose about drone creeps. No one cared. My channel tripled in subscribers, and I got in VYTES to speak at drone expos. A high school asked me to teach a class. Even Ellen started a podcast, Crest VYEW Chronicles, with a sock puppet reenactment of Marjorie's rants. The day Marjorie moved out, I stood by my fence, coffee in hand, drone case at my feet. Her SUV was stuffed, her eagle statue wobbling in a mover's arms. She spotted me, her glare heavy but hollow. I raised my cup in a silent toast, then launched the drone. It climbed above her roof, steady and legal, a final reminder of the truth she couldn't outrun. She drove off without a word. That night, I edited the full story, 28 minutes of footage from her park tantrum to the kennel bust and HOA exile, titled The Drone Debacle. How one lie unraveled everything. It wasn't about gloating, it was about clarity. Piano notes underscored the VY Souls, with text overlays citing FAA laws and public records. By morning, it had 300,000 VYUs. Comments poured in, stories of other bullies, thanks from drone pilots inspired to fly again. A tech conference offered me a speaking slot, all expenses paid. Ridgewood changed after Marjorie left. Neighbors planted messy gardens. Kids biked without fear. Ellen's podcast took off, and I went back to filming sunsets, my logs meticulous, my camera always ready. Sometimes, flying over the park, I'd linger above the creek, the egrets soaring below. It wasn't just a win, it was proof that truth, persistence, and a good lens could ground even the loudest lies 30 feet at a time. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this VY Deo with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.